Maruti, Gambhira Maruti. Veera Maruti, Gambhira Maruti. Dhira Maruti, Ati Dhira Maruti. Gita Maruti, Sangita Maruti. Duta Maruti, Ramaduta Maruti. Bhakta Maruti, Parama Bhakta Maruti. Veera Maruti, Gambhira Maruti. Gambhira Maruti. Gambhira Maruti. Okay. How would we known how would we know perhaps unconscious is expressing? When your expression is not in keeping with your understanding of appropriate behavior, means you know certain thing is not correct, not right way of behaving, not right way of responding, but still you end up doing it. It means unconscious is taking over. So that is one way of knowing that your knowledge about appropriateness and your behavior are not matching. Then more likely that unconscious is controlling. It's a way, is a model. So don't go that where is unconscious, which part of the brain, etc. Don't bother about it. It's a way of explaining the problem of a sadhaka, the difficulties of sadhaka. In Shastra, we used to use the word samskara, vasanas, etc. It is used in the psychology language as unconscious. And we use that word because they have done a lot of studies, so we have some more data. So we can perhaps address that issue little more comprehensively. But don't get stuck with the idea of unconscious. When my all full unconscious will come out, it will never come out completely. It will be there. Somewhat it will remain. But afterwards, when the person has a wisdom, then that unconscious does not create any problem for the person. So, the unconscious is a way of looking at the problem of the samskaras, unprocessed emotions. And next question is that how do we handle? What would be the safe expression of unconscious? Safe expression would be you invite, means in meditation you say, you invoke that unconscious indirectly by saying what all has happened in the past, what all painful situation has happened, it was in order. So what is happening? You are recollecting or you are providing the opportunity for unconscious to be surfaced. So you say that whatever painful thing has happened, so something will come to your mind. Unconscious doesn't come in totality at a time. It's not a full unconscious, like one full person comes in front of you. Similarly, complete unconscious will not come. Some aspect will come out. And the safe expression is safe way of processing this unconscious is more and more meditation and more this entertainment of the idea of surrender. Whatever has happened, it was in order. Whatever is happening is in order. So keep on thinking that whatever these emotions I had, it had a background for that emotion to be there. And I suppressed that emotion, that also was in order. Puja Swamiji explains this very well. He said unconscious is a protective mechanism. How? In childhood, certain emotions child cannot handle. The feeling of being abandoned by parents. Maybe it is based on some reality or based on the child's perception. When mother goes out, child feels that I am abandoned. And that feeling of being abandoned is very powerful. Child cannot handle that. Therefore, what it does, it carpets it. It throws under this unconscious. It means it suppresses it. Like some conflict is going on in the house. People are fighting, crying, and all this. Some gates comes, bell rings. Everybody smile and how you do? You do it, no? You must have done sometimes. Please come, please come. What are we doing? We were just chatting, So how you manage? That's what child does. It carpets the feeling because it cannot handle. So it is a blessing. This unconscious is formed. That's why child is able to survive. It is a survival mechanism. Therefore, don't look down upon unconscious. It was required at that time. But afterwards it controls the life of a person. And so first of all, we don't hate unconscious. Because when we hear about unconscious creates problem, so we generally have a tendency to hate the source of problem. Don't hate this. You say, at that time it was required. Like, certain situations are there when we have to take a stand. We have to act, even though we have strong feeling of hurt, humiliation, but still we have to act with a brave smile. It was a requirement. That time we have to keep our emotions aside. That capacity to keep our emotions aside is a blessing. But if it is not processed afterwards, it becomes a problem. Something like a loan. Sometimes loan is required. Without loan, we cannot survive in some situation. But if the loan is not repaid, what? It becomes bigger, and then very difficult to handle. Every now and then you get a notice. Every now and then person will come and threaten. Every now and then he will come and take away something. It's like that. Certain thing was a blessing in a particular situation, but if it is not processed properly, it becomes an issue. So, one way is doing this meditation. Puja Swamiji had conducted this meditation of Maha-validation. It's available in bookstore. He had done in Rishikesh when I was there. So, Maha-validation means you validate. Whatever had happened in the past, you validate. In meditation and in general also, keep on entertaining the idea of surrender. Do we resolve it or let it be as a witness and let it pass? Both we do. We try to resolve it by seeing the order, and when it is unconscious is getting expressed in the form of some anger, pain, hurt, feeling of pain, hurt, etc., that time is, if we can become a Sakshi, try to be a Sakshi. Or if Sakshi is too much in that situation, be Sakshi is a tall order sometimes. So At that time, you say, this pain is going. Instead of saying, this pain is coming, you say, pain is going. And it has come, it will go. It is going. Means you don't reject the pain. Don't say, why should I have pain? I should not have pain. Why should I have? No. Pain is there, let it go. It is in order. My feeling hurt, my feeling sad in that situation where unconscious got surfaced is in order. You should feel happy that this unconscious is let go. You are letting it go. It's a good thing. Like some impurity, some is there, is going away. Like our, dentist. Dentist, when he removes the scaling and all, descaling, she is doing painful. He's cleaning. I remember one very good lesson what dentist had given me. While descaling, the scale is there, removing, and I will do like this, no? Pain is there. Then she told very important thing. I really remember that. She said, Swamiji, wherever you are feeling pain because of my descaling, that is the place where your brush should go. Since you did not clean it well, therefore my instrument has to go now. I said, very good lesson. In life, we don't pay attention to certain things, and that becomes your area of pain. If you had paid attention, it will not become the area of your pain. So whatever area of your pain is the area to be attended. So I really learnt a very good lesson. Yes. All right. So I keep learning that dentist from that instruction I learned. All right. So do we resolve it? Yes, we try to resolve by attitude of surrender, and if possible, we can try to be a witness as well. How do we control it if needed? Unconscious you cannot directly control because it is unconscious. Being unconscious, you cannot directly control. But when it is getting surfaced in the form of some sadness or some missing, the feeling of missing, feeling very low, that time we make sure that our feelings are not expressed in a harmful manner. Means, because of my feeling sad on account of unconscious, I don't victimize others. Or because of unconscious, I have feeling of anger with the world. So, because of my feeling anger, others should not be victimized. You can tell, see, right now I am angry, we'll talk later. So, when this unconscious is surfaced at that time, you can, your alertness needs to be about this, that let it get expressed appropriately without victimizing anybody. Otherwise, what happens? When we are going through that sadness, etc., we get angry, we become short-tempered, rude to others. That we can minimize. For that, prayerfulness. Being prayerful, that my unconsciousness is my prarabdha, my karma, my situation. Others are not responsible for my unconscious. And I have no right to victimize anybody. I can have feeling of anger, but my anger is my problem. Why others should suffer because of my problem? So I try to make sure that my any feeling of sadness, etc., does not harm others. In karma model, they say, when you are exhausting papa by going through painful situation, don't create further papa. It's a very nice lesson. When you are going through the result of papa, don't create further papa. Because when you are going through this painful situation, you can't handle it properly, then you will create further papa by getting angry with people, shouting, slapping, etc. So what you are doing, while going through papa, you create further papa. So that we minimize. And otherwise, this unconscious cannot be directly controlled. We have to wait and don't get so much obsessed about this idea of unconscious. Otherwise, you will not be conscious to your day-to-day life. You are always thinking, what my conscious telling, what my unconscious, what is surfacing. Don't, it is a need-based. So when required, you say, see, every day you don't go for medical test. How many bacteria are there, how many these are there, you don't have to do it. It is a need-based. Otherwise, you become hypochondriac. Don't do it. When required, you do it. Similarly, unconscious, when required, we use this understanding and respond to this expression of unconscious appropriately. That is our maturity. Okay. Sankalpa is fanciful and is the basis for kama. As a Tivra Mumukshu, I take Sankalpa that I want to learn more and more. I love the scriptures and it keeps growing more and more. Please guide me, Swamiji, if this is a Shuddha Sankalpa. See, Sankalpa for study is a good Sankalpa. But if that Sankalpa is creating anxiety, because of that Sankalpa, if some duty comes in between, you get angry, I want to study and you are disturbing me. And your plan to study somehow not getting materialized, you want to do one residential course, not getting materialized. Yes, when it happens, let it happen. From my side, I am ever sincere. Even 10 minutes I get, I study. That is my sincerity. That is the Shubha Sankalpa. But no anxiety if some factors are not favorable sometimes. And also, we need not have this so much focus on quantity. Because there is nowhere written that after studying 10 Upanishads, one gets moksha. It is not there. There is no syllabus for moksha. And therefore, we can say, I would like to study as much as it is required for getting this vision, getting the conviction and getting assimilation. Our wish for study should be purpose based. Otherwise, this also becomes an embellishment of your ego. I studied this. You want to make a list of it. So make sure that it is not for that. So you don't say, I want to study maximum. You can say, I will study as much as it is required for vision, conviction, assimilation. Be purpose based. Let study not become the obsession. In fact, we are going to, in this Upanishad, it will come that after certain time, you have to outgrow even the need to study. See, Apalalamiva dhanyarthi, it is going to come. So that time we will discuss more. But it is a good sankalpa. If it doesn't create anxiety, any reaction, etc. In this Vyavaharika world, Smriti, Anubhava and Paramarsha does happen. Let it happen. But let Shubha Smriti happen, Shubha Anubhava happen, Shubha Paramarsha. Shubha means what? Conducive to the pursuit of moksha. So we try to maximize that type of association which is conducive to moksha. Swami Paramarthanji uses the word moksha friendly. So we have moksha friendly environment. moksha friendly company, moksha friendly inputs. So that we, even though smriti, anubhava and paramarsha happen, still it is not a problem. Even regarding the class, smriti will happen. Anubhava you have now, paramarsha. Paramarsha means deliberation. That's what you mean, not deliberation, thinking, reflection. That happens. So let it happen. So when we have all this moksha friendly inputs, then it is not a problem. How to stay away? You don't have to stay away. In fact, in life, our approach more should be is positive. Videyatmaka. Puja Swamiji very nicely said. He said, instead of thinking of getting rid of bad qualities, etc., I mean wrong qualities, you focus on developing right qualities. In our mind, there are circuits. Wrong habit circuit is there. So instead of working on removing that circuit, you create a new circuit. The path is that which is not a good path. So instead of destroying that path, you create a new path and start using that. So automatically that path will become irrelevant. So more and more we focus on developing right habit rather than thinking, I have this bad habit, that is not a correct thinking. More you focus on developing right habit. In this context, Puja Swamiji had very nicely said. He said, Indira Gandhi had given this slogan, Garibi Hatao, means remove poverty. He said that is not a good approach. You should say, bring prosperity. Bring prosperity to everybody's life. In life, we think in this way. Otherwise, you get obsessed with this. I want to get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. We focus on, especially in terms of qualities when we do, we focus on developing right habits. Devi Sampat is increasing, Asuri Sampat will be reduced. Yeah, Asuri Sampat we pay attention, but don't get obsessed with that. More you focus on your strength, how to use your strength, rather than thinking all the time about weakness. And always having this mind, as one politician of US said very nicely, there is nothing wrong with the US which cannot be corrected with what is right with the US. Means we have many things right with us, means positive qualities are there. So we use them to remove those weaknesses. So there is no weakness which we cannot correct or remove with our strength. So acknowledge your strength, use them in a positive manner, so weakness will become irrelevant. In Vishishtadvaita, there is a beautiful saying. They say, instead of thinking about what all wrong things I have done, I should think how compassionate is Ishvara. Think more about the compassion of Ishvara than all the time thinking I have done this, I am papi, this papa done, this papa done. If you think too much about papa, you feel very low. Instead of saying Bhagavan is so compassionate, so forgiving, then you feel light. But it should be used properly. Otherwise people say, Swamiji, you gave a very good way. So I will do papa because Bhagavan is compassionate. Not for that. But it is a way of saying that we don't focus too much on our weakness all the time. It is not that we ignore that. We do pay attention. We do acknowledge. But we don't get obsessed with that. Obsession with weakness makes you further weak. That is the crux of the matter here in this. Okay, long one later. How do we identify and address any potential Vishaya Sakti in mind, even as rasa, which the mind may entertain with respect to emotions and intellect? One thing is that we strengthen our viveka, that everything in the world is temporary and incapable of giving what I am seeking in my life. And every bhoga has got its price. There is no free lunch. So every bhoga has got a potential to distract me from the pursuit of freedom, pursuit of limitless. So in general there is a viveka, and specifically when some situations, some attraction is happening, we pay more attention on that object particularly by seeing the limitation of that object, that situation. But it is not that every time we have got desire and we should suppress only. If some desires are not against dharma and not addictive, once in a while, suppose you have desire to take ice cream, desire to take chocolate, very rarely it happens. So once in a while if you do it, you should not feel guilty about it. But suppose you feel like taking alcohol, then you have to think. So identify and address Vishayasakti, a potential Vishayasakti, by creating the infrastructure of strong viveka. And another thing is, we commit ourselves to the higher pursuit more and more. When we are committed to the higher, our value, our engagement, our attraction to the lower bhogas is dropped. You don't have to do anything for that. Commit yourself to higher. You are so busy with study, shastra and all these things don't even occur to you. Sometimes they have kept tea and all, I forget because I was so busy studying, so it is kept there. So after the class, when I come back, then I take. That time is very cold. It's okay, but it's prepared. So you are busy with that, so all these things become irrelevant. You don't have to struggle for that. It happens. So one principle is, you strengthen your viveka in general, nitya nitya vastu viveka, and second is you commit yourself more and more to the pursuit of knowledge, pursuit of freedom. Then all of other things will be taken care of. And another thing is, keep good company, because company matters a lot, especially in initial stage when you are weak. When you are strong, then it doesn't matter. In fact, you will be able to influence them. It is the principle, the strong one prevails. So if you are very good with good habits and you are strong, because of your association, others will become good. But if you are good but weak and associated with strong people which have got many weakness, many wrong habits, then you will be influenced. Winner takes all. In American election, that is the principle. Winner takes all. So here it is that whoever is stronger takes all. So that he will prevail. Okay. On the first day, you spoke about converting the pursuit of freedom to the pursuit of knowledge. To me, they are the same. Yeah, they are not same. It becomes the same. But if person doesn't have this awareness of the difference between the desire for moksha and desire for knowledge, there is some subtle difference or refinement of the desire, then person may become vulnerable for any false promise. I will explain further. I have intense desire for moksha, but I do not know that moksha is by knowledge, and I do not have the desire for self-knowledge. I want just moksha. Then what will happen? Somebody will say, see, my Guruji, you don't have to do anything. He will put, Shaktipata he will do. Just he will put his thumb on your the forehead, and your chakra will open, you will get enlightenment. You will get moksha. Just 3 days sadhana. Only think some 50,000 rupees dakshina you have to give. Don't mind. So you have intense desire for moksha. So 50,000 is not a big thing. Even though you cannot afford so easily, but somehow you will manage. So you will fall for all this when your desire for moksha is not converted into desire for knowledge. So when I understand that moksha is freedom from bondage, bondage is because of ignorance, ignorance can go by knowledge, therefore moksha is by knowledge, then I want to be free and therefore I want knowledge. So my desire for moksha is now refined in the form of desire for knowledge. But desire for knowledge is prompted by what? Desire for moksha only. Desire for moksha has taken this refined version of desire for this knowledge. And therefore, in a way they are same, but still there is some difference. And if this difference, subtle difference which is there, is not noticed, then person can be distracted by so many other paths. Today you said that meditation is not a means of knowledge, but what about our previous lives and the knowledge that we attain when a very high developed jnani leaves his body and returns to earth? Will he need a guru and the Vedas to attain moksha? For example, Mata Amrutanandmayi never had a guru and attained a moksha. She was born with the knowledge. Can you give your point of view on this? See, I wanted to discuss that, somehow it didn't get covered. People ask this question, Swamiji, what about this? What about this? What about this? I think I discussed that they are spiritual prodigy. Spiritual prodigy they don't require. Once this Mozart, you know Mozart, one musician, he went to some music school. Then these people will be just starting learning. And one student asked this question. He said, when we start learning music, what should we start with? He said, we start with some simple notes. Then somebody said, but you started with symphony. He said, but I did not go to ask this question to anyone. That is the difference. So, these wise people, they do not need guru because they had background. If you also was like, if you also were genius like him, Mata Amrutanandmayi or Raman Maharshi, then you would not ask this question. Amrutanandmayi did not go and ask, I did not have guru, but should I have guru? She did not ask. Or Raman Maharshi did not ask. The very fact you are asking means you are not that genius. And therefore what? You need a guru. That's all. If you were like him, you don't require guru, because they did not require guru. But then you will not ask the question. The very fact asked, better have. Like Ramanujan, mathematician, he did not require formal training from anybody. But does it mean that we also can do like that without any guru? We start. No, we require. With guru also we are not able to study mathematics. So yes, we do agree that there is some spiritual genius. They don't require guru. They had past samskara, and this is told in our shastra also. Vamadevaha, garbhe eva shayanaha, Vamadevaha. So Vamadeva in the Garbha itself, he had got this knowledge. We accept that. But those are exceptional cases. If you also, you say, Swamiji, I am also exceptional case, okay. But for those people, we can't say that meditation is the means. They already had knowledge. In perhaps meditation, they recollected. As I said, you also can recollect. Sometimes your mind is busy with so many things, therefore it was not coming out of your memory. When you sit quietly in meditation, it may come out. It doesn't mean that it is a means of knowledge. It becomes an avenue for your memory to get resurfaced. Like in your computer, you have fed the data, it will come. Somewhere the file was hidden, you didn't know, and today you discovered. Sometimes the computer also will say, some file is hidden or something, would you like to retrieve? So you retrieve it. It is not that a computer has created the data. Similarly, meditation provides you an avenue for what has been received to be resurfaced. That is what it does. It is not the means of knowledge. Okay. If everything is Ishvara's order, my thoughts, how I respond to them, then where is my free will? Okay. This is a question, is a very common, it's a natural question. I also had this question. When Puji Swamiji spoke about the order in Rishikesh in 1991 or something, he was conducting a course here, 92 I think. So he was conducting a course here and he brought the students there. I was in Rishikesh, so he conducted there, and he conducted Chandogya Upanishad. So that time he talked about the order, and I was very impressed. But I got this question. When I read this question, I am reminded of myself. So I also said, Swamiji, does it mean that we don't have any free will? So we don't do anything. Everything is in order. Then Swami, I remember he gave my own example. He said, I was very thin at that time. So he said, you are very thin, it is in order. But you can take care of your health and you can put on weight. That is in your hand. So idea is that order has the provision for free will as well. My free will is in order. But my free will is not unrestrained free will. It is not that I have free will, so I do whatever I want. I have a free will, so I would like to fly. I can't fly. Literally, I cannot fly. By aeroplane, I fly. But free will, we have restrained, If free will has got constraints, that also is in order. So, constrained free will is in order. Free will is not outside the order. You have free will, and with that free will, you can do this many possible things. That probabilities is order. When you have free will, then you can do one of these 5,000 things. Those probabilities are part of the order, are in order. So you always do what is possible to do. Can you do something which is not possible to do? No, Swamiji, I did which was impossible. It was impossible, you thought, it was not. You thought something to be impossible and you did it. It was not impossible. You always do what is doable. So that something is doable, that probability, that also is part of the order. They have got law of probability. They study probabilities. Based on that, they play games. So, probability. And therefore, my free will is in order. It is not outside the order. So, don't think it is something contradicting with order. But with that free will also, you will have some possibilities only. You cannot go beyond the possibilities. You think you are going beyond possibilities. That is your thinking. It was possible. You thought it was impossible and you did it, and you thought, you tell I did impossible. No. Always there is a probability. Therefore, free will and order, free will and order, both of them are not contradictory. Free will is a part of the order. All right. So, I think now, what's last question I will take? How to stop feeling guilty and how to get rid of guilty. Both mean the same almost. Perhaps we can say the feeling guilty is instantaneous situation, and get rid of guilt is a general getting rid of general situation. We can take it that whenever you are feeling guilty, first of all you accept that yes, I am feeling guilty. Don't suppress that feeling from others, or at least from yourself. Don't try to run away from that feelings. Nowadays people, what they do, when anything painful happens, they try to distract by watching TV, watching videos, or another thing they do, eat, keep eating, emotional eating, to distract their mind. Sometimes if it is required, you do that also. It's okay, it is in order. But healthy way is you address it. First of all, acknowledge it, and you say, yes, there is a feeling of guilt. Why am I feeling guilty? Because I think that I should not have done that, but I did it. Or I should have done, but I did not do it. Omission and commissions. Then you tell yourself, at that moment when there was omission and commission, at that time I had a particular background. With that particular background, I could behave in that manner alone. Not only I, anybody in my place, anybody, even a saint, greatest saint, in my place with my background, don't bring his background. Many times you will say, no, if I were in your place, I will not do like this. You have heard this? It's a wrong statement. Why? Because if I were in, when we say I was in your place, but with my background, no, you have to put yourself in that person's seat with his background. Anybody in my place with my background would have done the same thing what I did. That is my conviction. Whatever omission or commission, it would be the same thing. Anybody in my place with my background would have done the same thing. Therefore, my omission and commission is in keeping with my background. And particular background brings particular behavior. That is the order. So my omission and my commission was in order. That if we can see that my behavior was in order, so I need not feel guilty. But my feeling guilty till this moment was in order. Don't feel guilty about feeling guilty. People have this, Swamiji, I don't know, I all the time feel guilty, I all the time feel guilty. So you are feeling guilty about feeling guilty. So at least you stop that chain. You say, my feeling guilty was in order. But now I have this understanding, so my background is changed. And when background is changed, the consequent behavior will change. And therefore, now I am free from this guilt. I can be free from guilt. And in general, to be free from this feeling of guilt, keep surrendering to Ishvara. Do this surrender meditation. I appreciate the order. I drop my resistance to all facts of my life. Keep saying this. I surrender. I drop my resistance. Whatever has happened, happened. Let me go ahead. So keep seeing and keep what is called repeating in our mind in whatever way we can. That will help to reduce the guilt. More we will see tomorrow questions. We have some bhajans. Acha, you wanted to sing? Okay, please sing.
ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्तिं पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुर्कृपा ॐ श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है, बस एक यही मेरा भल है। गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा, अज्ञान भरे संशय से भरे विपरीत विचारों से भी भरे, अज्ञान भरे संशय से भरे विपरीत विचारों से भी भरे, मन के अंधकार को दूर करे वचनामृत से तव बोध कृपा, मन के अंधकार को दूर करे वचनामृत से तव बोध कृपा। गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा, पल पल पग पग जीवन पथ पर गुरु साथ मेरे रक्षक बनकर, पल पल पग पग जीवन पथ पर गुरु साथ मेरे रक्षक बनकर, विसरू न कभी यह प्रेममयी आनंदमयी अवनीय कृपा, विसरू न कभी यह प्रेममयी आनंदमयी अवनीय कृपा। गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा, महनीय कृपा। हरिओम स्वामी जी।
अरविन्दासन सुन्दरवदने अरविन्दासन सुन्दरवदने विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते अरविन्दासन सुन्दरवदने अरविन्दरवदने विद्यारूपे विशालाक्षी विद्यारूपे विशालाक्षी विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां देहि विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां देहि वन्दे बुद्धि प्रदां शारदां वन्दे प्रदां शारदां विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां देहि वीणाधारे कमललोचने वीणाधारे कमललोचने विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते अरविन्दासन सुन्दरवदने सुन्दरवदने विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते 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 नमोऽस्तु ते नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि 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 नारायण नारायण हरि 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 ನಾರಾಯಣ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಹರಿ ನಾರಾಯಣ ನಾರಾಯಣ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಜ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಸತ್ಯನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಶ್ರೀಮನ್ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಜ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಸತ್ಯನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಶ್ರೀಮನ್ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಪಂಕಜ ವಿಲೋಚನ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಪಂಕಜ ಭಕ್ತ ಸಂಕಟ ವಿಮೋಚನ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಕ್ತ ಸಂಕಟ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ನಾಶಕ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ನಾಶಕ ಭಕ್ತ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನ ಪೋಷಕ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಕ್ತ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನ ಕರುಣಾಪಯೋನಿಧಿ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಕರುಣಾಪಯೋನಿಧಿ ಭಕ್ತ ಶರಣಾಗತ ನಿತ್ಯ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಕ್ತ ಶರಣಾಗತ ನಿತ್ಯ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಕ್ತ ಶರಣಾಗತ ನಿತ್ಯ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಕ್ತ ಶರಣಾಗತ ನಿತ್ಯ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಜ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಜ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಭಜ ನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಸತ್ಯನಾರಾಯಣಂ ಶ್ರೀಮನ್ನಾರಾಯಣಂ 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 ಶಂಕರಾಯ 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 ಮಂಗಳಂ ಶಂಕರಾಯ ಶಂಕರೀ ಮನೋಹರಾಯ ಶಾಶ್ವತಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಸುಂದರಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಸನಾತನಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಸುಂದರಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಚಿನ್ಮಯಾಯ ಸನ್ಮಯಾಯ ತನ್ಮಯಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಚಿನ್ಮಯಾಯ ತನ್ಮಯಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಅನಂತರೂಪಮಂಗಳಂ ಚಿರಂತನಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಅನಂತರೂಪಮಂಗಳಂ ನಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ನಿರಂತರಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಪುರಂದರಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ನಿರಂತರಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಪುರಂದರಾಯ ಮಂಗಳ ಅಚಂಚಲಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಅಚಿಂತನಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಅಚಂಚಲಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಜಗಚ್ಚಿವಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ನಮಃ ಶಿವಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಶಿವಾಯ ಮಂಗಳಂ 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 ಆನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ 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 ದಯಾನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ 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 ದಯಾನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ 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 ಆನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ ಆನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ 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 ದಯಾನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ 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 ದಯಾನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ ದಯಾನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ ದಯಾನಂದ ಮಂಗಳಂ